Good morning. Check it out. We got some snow. Let's get to the market and let's show you how I manage the dough in the van when it's cold. Let's go. We're in the van, we're all set. Let's show you the dough and how I basically manage it. So it's now got cold, right? Right now, apparently it's going to be a -7 degrees C wind chill today out there. It's going to be a bit windy. It's currently probably about 1 or 2 degrees. The snow has stopped, which is all good. But basically, the van is generally always warm, okay? Right now, I'll just show you this. I've got a thermometer over here. So right now we are at 25.5 degrees with 30% humidity. So that's going to dry out as well. It will probably get to about 35 degrees in here, maybe like that, 35 degrees C. You know, it's not cold. But what I have down here is I have a custom dough cabinet. So underneath the ovens is basically this. So I've got, like, there's a shelf on top of it for all my pills and things like that. But this is a custom made dough cabinet. So it is it's essentially a stainless steel box. Let me open it up and show you. So in here, I use it as dough storage and sort of like other bits and bobs. So this is my dough cabinet. It has got an insulated door, and the rest of it is just essentially a stainless steel box. Now, because it's quite low in the van, it stays cool. Now, I can chill it further. Now, if you look up here, in the top, I've got these runners, okay, just here. And these are where I slot in cool plates. Now, right now, I obviously don't need those cool plates because it's warm enough. So let me get out a dough tray and I'll show you what I'm dealing with today. Let's get one out. Gosh. This dough, it's always room fermented. I only do a ambient room temperature dough. Now I have to change my process and my recipe with every single batch that I make. I do not have room for commercial refrigeration at home. I live in the UK. Generally our temperatures are pretty stable and I just adjust throughout the seasons basically. And right now my prep room's actually at a really nice temperature. It's generally about 17 degrees C, which is like perfect for a nice sort of slow 24-hour room temperature fermentation. Now, this dough was made about 24 hours ago. I bulk fermented it from about 11 o'clock yesterday morning. So actually, it's not 24 hours. Yeah, it's 23 hours old. It's going to be 24 at 11. So it was bulk fermented until about 8 p.m. at night. So, you know, the best part of like 9 hours, say. And then I started balling up last night and it just sat in my prep room. My prep room did drop a little bit overnight to a decent temperature. It dropped down to sort of probably about 16 degrees, so a little bit cooler, but I adjusted my yeast levels to combat that. So we're at about 1.7 grams of fresh yeast per kilo of flour used. I mixed 13 kilos worth of flour at 63% hydration this time. The humidity levels in my house were sort of mid-range, so I sort of went with a higher hydration level because the humidity isn't as much as it has been before. So anyway, let's have a look at the dough. And this dough is perfect. It's ready to go. Look at this. Let's cut to some cinematics. Looks good, doesn't it? So yeah, 63% hydration, 1.7 grams of yeast per kilo of flour. So 63% hydration means I use 630 grams of water per kilo of flour used. I use 1.7 grams of yeast and I use 30 grams of salt. This is Dalla Giovanna Napolitana 2.0 flour. I used 90% of that and then I added 10% of my Uniqua. You may have seen there's a little fleck of grain in there. That's like all the little extra wheat germ that's in there, and it just it makes it taste nicer, lets it suck in a little bit more moisture. Just had to pay for my pitch fee as the market management come over. Right, so yeah, dough. Basically, it's my regular dough. I've sort of gone to the 2.0 flour for a little bit now because I'm really enjoying it. It's given me a slightly lighter one. I actually used this flour many years ago when it launched in the UK. I was using it like 6 months before they launched it. I've told you about this before. I spent 3 days at the Dalla Giovanna mill in Piacenza in northern Italy back in like 2020. Learned all about the flour and they showed me that they were making this new 2.0 version. So during lockdown, basically back in the old COVID days, the old Rona, I was using that flour pretty much religiously. And then I just, for some reason, I swapped back to the zero and I started blending and stuff. But I'm enjoying this one again now, so it's banging. But yeah, so this dough cabinet, like, there's a couple of little things you can get that are like this if you're going to be doing street food. Now, back in the day, I used to be out actually on the street. You know, I am on the street, but I'm in a van, so I have like a more of a warmer environment. Back in the day, I was on the street. When I had a bicycle, I basically was just stuck in the elements. Like my skill level wasn't as good as it is probably now. Hopefully I have some skills now, and I kind of just had to deal with what the temperature was like. But what I did use was, like, I had like little USB warming pads that I slipped in between the trays, stuff like that. But the best thing that I had was actually, after a while, was I got a thing called a Kanga box. Now, it's basically like a massive polystyrene sort of, you know, cool box essentially. But this one I had one, I think it was 81 litres, something like that, and I could fit 4 dough trays in it, and they slotted inside it, and then you put a lid on it, and then I had this extra lid attachment where I could put cool plates, like the eutectic plates that I have in here, and that let the cool air drop, and so that would be good in, you know, in cold environments, but also in warm environments, because I then had hot eutectic plates, so you can get red ones. They're like it's like an ice block, right? But these ones, you can heat them up in warm water. So I used to put them in boiling water or hot water for, like, before I left. I used to put them in a tray in the oven and let them heat up, and they charge up, and then they give off that warmth. I used to also use hot water bottles. I used to fill them up with hot water and put them in there as well. Sort of anything I could do to keep it cool. But if you're doing, like, you know, this on like street food market stalls out of a gazebo, stuff like that, you can get a thing called a Cambro box, and I've actually got one, and I use it when I go and do my, like, pizza classes or like events and things like that. It's a front loading box, and that one you can actually fit 9 dough trays in, so that's quite a lot of dough, right? So you can basically, and it's front loading, so you just slide them in, and it has a big space at the back for a cool plate. And it's essentially a bit like this cabinet, but essentially like made of like polystyrene stuff. It's called a Cambro front loading. Here's a picture of it here. And that thing is great. Like, if you're going to do this on the street and basically you're worried about temperature and sort of stuff like that, then you can get those things. Just make sure they do one that has like sort of like little ridges for shelves, to put like 1 GN plates in and everything, like shelves. Make sure you get the one it says it's 600 by 400 mil to fit the dough trays, and make sure it doesn't have the shelves. And so it's just sort of, the inside is just completely smooth basically, and doesn't have the little ridges for the trays to slide into. So when it gets really cold in here as well, what I'll often do is I'll get my second dough tray out, and I'll have it on the shelf underneath here just to kind of warm up. Sometimes in a real depths of winter, I'll have the dough this side, which is a lot warmer close to the oven than it is by the back door. But like, generally this dough is probably sitting at about 16-17 degrees. It's not going to over ferment. That's the other thing people often ask me, is how my dough doesn't over ferment in the hot environment. Well, it's because I've got a cabinet, so I keep it in there. Like in the summer, this fan can get upwards of 50 degrees C in here. It can actually get to like 59. It's been 59, 60 degrees before, and at those temperatures, dough will ferment very fast. But I can control it in that cabinet, and that cabinet will be full of cool plates. I'll have 2 on either side of the top. I'll have some around the side, and it will keep it at like 17, 18 degrees. It's not a refrigerator. By all means, if you can fit a big commercial like dough tray refrigerator in your truck, go for it. That's a great way of doing it, but just make sure you're pulling your dough from that fridge so it can warm up before you use it, because it won't, you know, it can also cool down your oven. Cold dough, cold sauce, everything like that, it takes away that heat from the oven, which you don't really want to do. You know, you want your oven to be holding steady, so you don't want to be sapping that heat out of it all the time. So yeah, basically custom dough cabinet, rotating the dough, bringing it out at set periods. Like as this one's going to be getting low today, I'll probably be taking one out, putting it down here when I've got like 5 or so left in each tray, and it should be great all day long. So Hope this one was helpful. Little insight into the dough management in the van. If you've got any more questions, drop them in the comment section, and make sure, if you haven't, make sure you subscribe. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything, and it really helps me out and pushes me further. And if you want my exact dough recipe, then check this video just here.